I was thinking this morning what wisdom I could share. And my son, who always wakes up too early, came in and sat with me. And, this isn't supposed to happen. Right? You're not supposed to bury a child. And it seems like if there's anything good that God can give us, it's to watch our kids grow up, right? So these cries, this lament is what we humans are supposed to do right now. Thankfully, I don't need to share any of my own wisdom, because I wish it weren't so, but humans have been doing this for too long. And we, thanks be to God, have been gifted with a God who sent his Son, his only Son, his beloved Son, to be with us too. And he watched him be crucified. I don't know if that is any comfort to you, that God has experienced this pain. But it is what we have, because there is something more than just Jesus crucified. It's that he rose again. And we Christians, for the last 2,000 years, have somehow mysteriously, beginning with those first women who found an empty tomb and found a Savior in some new form, living, but in some new form, resurrected. And that experience that was passed on became a part of all of what it means for us to be Christian. There's nothing else. That's all we have. We have God's Son who lived among us, was crucified, and rose again. That's all we have. And that's why one of the most important things we do as Christians, in fact, the thing that we think makes us Christian, is our baptism. In our baptism, we die with Christ in his death so that we may rise with Christ in his resurrection. And that's why we keep that candle there. The candle is there for baptisms, it's there for the 50 days of Easter, and it's there for burials to remind us of that truth. That is what the church has to offer us all today. In the face of the many questions, starting with the very circumstances of Michael's death, which are still unclear, we are so grateful that you are with us today, in person and online, to comfort this family in their grief, to be comforted yourself. And I hope that this can be an invitation, and I'd like to think that Michael would want it to be so too, an invitation to reflect on how you're living your life. God knows Michael thought he had more time to live. Our actions matter. Our relationships matter. How are you living your life? Can we, with God's help, live into God's greater love, the greater embrace that Michael knows now? Because when we say Michael is in heaven, what we mean is that God is in heaven. And because God is all around us, like Jacques said, right? We experience Michael in our hearts because God dwells there too. But may we know that greater love that Michael knows now in this life too. That is the invitation today to each one of us, to take a step toward God, toward Jesus, to think about the way we are living our life. God, help us in that journey. God, help all of us, and especially this family. We shouldn't be here today. And may we now use the words of the prayers that the church has said for centuries and the songs that follow to bring us towards some comforting path together in this time ahead, which still is just the beginning of the sorrow. But may it also mark a pivoting point to start to notice this greater promise and this greater love that has always been there for each of us and now fully embraces Michael. Please stand as you are able for the prayers.